Hello, welcome. We are super excited to have you here today. I'm Robby. I'm a partner at Cowboy Ventures, and I've been investing in B2B SaaS companies for the past 7 years. And I also was very lucky to be part of the seed round for Drata back in late 2020, and have been working very closely with the team ever since.
Adam Markowitz, co-founder and CEO at Drata, world's fastest growing compliance automation platform, and very, very proud to have the backing of Robby and the folks at Cowboy since practically day one. Second time founder, but very much learning every single day, especially at events like SaaStr, just drinking from the fire hose of knowledge here. So appreciate everyone coming out. Today we're going to talk about the 5 guiding principles that we use at Drata to build with speed. Build a company with speed, build a product with speed. I always say time is our most precious asset, so speed is the ultimate currency. And at Drata, it's been all about speed and a real hyper-growth story. Just for context, last year I was proud to present at SaaStr. It was right before our Series B round. We've grown 600% since then. We went from launch to unicorn in under 10 months. And then, most importantly, we went from 0 to thousands of customers and tens of millions in revenue in just our first 18 months. We attribute that really to these 5 principles that we're going to talk about today. If they look simple, it's because they are. Execution is the hardest part. I actually had to learn a lot of these the hard way as a first-time founder at our prior startup, but really happy to talk about these 5. And for each of these 5, actually, we're going to get the venture capital perspective to make this way more valuable for everybody here. So thank you, Robby.
So I will be putting these into context of what I've seen with other B2B SaaS companies and really shine light on what Drata's done and how it's so unique.
All right, let's jump in. 2, the principle number 1 for building with speed, having clear product differentiation. So whether you're disrupting a legacy space or jumping into a very crowded one like we did, there's always room for product differentiation, for innovation. It doesn't always have to be with a product. It could be with what segment of the market you're tackling. It could be with the strategies that you deploy. It could be always with the culture of the company that you build. When it comes to product differentiation, really for us, the not-so-secret trick was just to listen. So simple. But for us, we really want to listen, really train our ear to listen for the pain, the signal and the noise, the pain in the market, those cries for help as entrepreneurs. That's music to our ears. Every time we hear this pain in the market, that's an opportunity to innovate. It's an opportunity to differentiate and add value. We're like that classic story of we fell in love with the problem long before we fell in love with the solution. We've experienced the problem ourselves at our last company. We talked to hundreds of other companies that were experiencing the same problem. They weren't getting value of the solutions that were already in the market. Before we built anything, we knew we were building a differentiated product. All we had to do was convince the friendly folks at Cowboy to invest. Piece of cake.
So at Cowboy Ventures, we're investing at seed. And what that means is that we're investing in companies before there is a product. But we're also looking for product differentiation. So how we actually go about doing that and figuring out if what we're going to invest in is going to be a differentiated product is by seeing the process that the company took to figure out where the gaps were in the market. And in the case of Drata, they served us all of these interviews with their potential customers and saw all of the gaps with the products in market at that point. So they had a lot of clarity on where exactly they were going to build, and that's where the paradigm of continuous compliance came from.
Yep. You'll notice a theme. Each one of these principles kind of builds off the last. If you're doing number 1 really well and you have a clearly differentiated product, chances are you're going to be delivering immediate time to value. This is SaaStr after all. We are all very spoiled with intuitive, easy-to-use software that we can't live without. We should all strive for that, of course. We take it one step further, I'd say, at Drata. We say that it's immediate and continuous value. Everyone at Drata is responsible for delivering value to the market long before a customer has ever handed the keys to the product. So as soon as somebody engages with content, they land on our website, they read our blog, they should be getting value. That means we're setting the bar of expectation. So long before a customer ever becomes a customer of Drata, they know the type of value that they could expect, and it's going to be immediate and continuous.
Yeah, in today's world, time to value is one of the most important product features. And when you have the average company using over 100 SaaS apps, if you're not providing value right away, they're going to look for competing products. And as you can see, it's very evident how fast the Drata product shows value. Integrations are seamless, and implementation time is very, very low compared to other products on the market.
Yeah, it's again, feeding right into the next principle. Again, these build off of each, right? If you bring a differentiated product to market, delivering immediate value to your customers, We want to let the customers do the talking. I want to put them on stage. I want them to shout from the mountaintops about the value that they're getting. The voice of the customer is the most powerful thing. Nobody wants to hear which way the wind is blowing from the vendor. I will put the voice of the customer on a billboard before anything else. That is key. Right when we launched, we want to prioritize case studies. So our earliest customers, we want to bottle up the value that they were getting and tell the world in their own words. Nothing more powerful than the voice of the customer.
And if you're building a venture-backed company, having your customers be very public advocates of what you're building can really attract investors. Well before we were out fundraising for our Series A or our Series B, we had a ton of investors who were already excited about the product because they were seeing on G2 Crowd and our video testimonials and in our case studies how much customers love the product.
Yeah, something we don't take for granted this time around. At our prior company, our prior startup, we didn't have that opportunity. Where when we sat down with VCs here at Drata, from that very first conversation, we were already delivering value to their portfolio companies. It's such a nice, refreshing way to start a relationship built on trust, built on value, continuous value, not lost on us this time around at all. Building off of these first three principles would be the fourth. Embedding in the buyer community. If our customers are shouting from the mountaintops about the value that they're getting, chances are they're talking about it in the communities they're already a part of. And that's a great thing. To become a pillar within those trusted communities, that's where we want it to be. We took it as far as in our Series A round, bringing on Silicon Valley CISO investors, SVCI. These are chief information security officers, the very economic buyers of our software, the people whose pain we're solving. We wanted them in the room, but more importantly, we wanted their ear and actually their voice. The number one reason to embed it in the buyer community, in our opinion, is so that we could keep on listening. The problems that we're solving for our customers today are going to evolve. It's not going to be the same problems tomorrow, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. We want to stay close. Keep our trained ear listening to those problems so that we can deliver more differentiated products that add immediate value, and around we go with these principles. They build off one another, but it's also cyclical.
Yeah, and in today's B2B SaaS world, community is truly everything. You see it with companies like Figma that really own the community in the design tool space, or Ironclad that own the community in the legal tech space. And this was something that Drata was investing in from very early on. As Adam said, we had the voice of the customer on our team, and we had heads of security investing as early as the seed round. So we really knew our buyer and had them embedded, and also just big proponents of Drata and our story. And most recently, we launched a community called Secured, which is now well over 100 security professionals that are trading notes on tools and trends, and that entire community is powered by Drata.
Yeah, we noticed something pretty amazing happening organically. It's obviously we want to embed ourselves in our buyers' communities, and we did. But as thousands of customers came on board, we realized there was a community growing right under our nose of our customers, talking to one another, asking questions, giving advice on security and compliance. And so we happily launched Secured, our community, so that we could, again, stay close to our customers, to our potential customers, so we could listen for those signals in the noise and keep adding value. Number 5. This one kind of breaks the pattern of all the other ones. Everything was kind of cyclical, building off of the last. This one, in my opinion, underscores all of them. I will get on my soapbox and talk about culture all day long. It is, none of the other 4 principles we talked about even work if this isn't in place. I could say hyper-growth. A hyper-growth company is a lot of things. It's exciting, it's fun, it is crazy. One thing it is not is comfortable. It is not a comfortable place to live and to work every day. You have to have the right structure in place, the right culture in place to keep it all together and actually facilitate and enable faster growth. That only happens if you have the right culture in place. At Drata, we really subscribe to the Simon Sinek definition of culture. It's values plus behavior. We identified and defined the core values of our company literally on day 0. They were values specific to our company that we knew we needed in order to be a hyper-growth company. And then, even harder though, we had to attract and retain talent that actually embodies those values in their behavior and their patterns of behavior every single day. Without that, none of the other 4 actually work. I will get off my culture soapbox.
Yeah, of all of the lessons that we've shared, this is by far the most important one. If you're competing in a highly competitive market, which compliance software is, culture is the thing that none of your competitors can actually copy. And in the case of Drata, it was very clear when it was just the 3 co-founders when we invested, the kind of culture that they wanted to build. And that was ultimately what got us excited and could have us projecting forward and see the kind of team that would be supporting Drata a year, or in this case, 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, principle number 1, we talked about just clear differentiation in the product, but culture is one of the most understated competitive advantages that you could have. It's a lasting differentiator, and I lied about my soapbox. All right, to tie it all together, in summary, the 5 principles we talked about was bringing a clearly differentiated product to market, one that delivers immediate value to your customers, letting those customers tell the world about that value, staying within their communities so they can keep listening and adding more value, and having the right culture, underscoring it all to make it actually happen.
Yeah, in my 7 years of investing in early stage B2B SaaS companies, I have never seen a company execute the way that the Drata team has. And a lot of that is because of the principles that we have up here.
And we even talk with speed because we have plenty of time to spare. If there was going to be a 6th principle on this slide, it wouldn't be as pretty a slide, but it would say we may be wrong. We reserve the right to be wrong. It's my favorite thing to say. And it actually ties into our 5th principle there of having the right culture in place. Like, we reserve the right to be wrong. We have a culture where it's okay to make mistakes, take chances, be wrong, learn from them, and iterate. And that, to me, without that, you don't have any potential for speed. So anyway, this all might be wrong. Take it with a grain of salt. No, these are our observations. These are our principles we believe make us move at the pace that we do. So thank you all.